how was Imperial, what's known as the Brazilian last dance, able to make it so far at the major? Let me show you some reasons why. But first, I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Leadify. I use Leadify to help quantify everything I was seeing from Imperial. Now, something new that they've included is the rating breakdown, where you can see the individual performance of a player round by round or in total. This is a great way to compare individuals to see where their impact is. For example, you can see if players have more impact in after plant situations like Fur or more opening duels like Fallen. Leadify has all these insights and more. It's free, so give it a try. There's going to be a link in the description below. One of the main reasons why Imperial was so good at the major was their ability to work together when it came to taking fights. This round against Liquid is a great example where nearly no one gets a fair fight. We'll start by seeing Vinny and Fur push through the mid smoke with the help of Fallen's flash. Fur takes the fight against OC at long, but he doesn't commit to it because he can't get the right angle, so he falls back from the fight and survives with low HP. But what this does is it sets up Vinny, who's holding the right side, to catch any CT trying to capitalize on the fallback, and that's exactly what Elige walks into. This happens because of Fur's willingness to disengage. Now later on in this same round, we'll see Bolts die to OC playing under Porch as Imperial are trying to take brackets. But what I want to highlight is that neither Fallen nor Vinny rush the trade right away. Instead, they coordinate this on OC. What happens here is that Fallen baits out the first contact to then allow Vinny to peek and commit to taking down OC. Just very simple coordination that happens as a result of them not rushing for the trade right away. Next we'll see Fur holding Banana from the tunnel and he hears Shox pushing down. Take a look at what happens to Shox. Once again, just non-committal contact. Fur does an excellent job of making sure he gets contact but not committing to the fight so that it allows Fallen to capitalize on Shox completely out in the open. It's these kind of small things that Imperial were doing all tournament long to get the upper hand against teams who might have had better firepower. The second thing is that they also knew how to work the map on a macro level and understood where the rotations would be and how to exploit them accordingly. Here in this round against Forest, both Bolts and Vinny start by throwing the double HG at the jump spot to get a kill. Now after the kill happens, you'll see that Fur, who's close to the fountain, he hears a player fall back to the A site, which is the expected rotation whenever the CTs lose a player at B, since they'll need a rotator who can float between B and A in a 4v5. So Fur, he's going to creep up and use that space that's been given to him as a result of the rotation. Meanwhile, as FNX clears the connector, he gets caught by a CT playing in the corner. When this kill happens, Fur has two options from where he is. He could either decide to go down the connector and look for the trade, or he can continue to go up the A site. And what he's going to decide is he's going to go up the A site to use the space available, and instead Vinny will come and hold the top of connector. And what this does is it gives Fur the safety to work all the way up the A site and catch a CT. And once he does that, Vinny also punishes the CT and connector trying to come up. With already such deep control of the A site, Imperial take this round easily. Now something you may not have noticed here is that Imperial as a whole actually had a backup plan in case Fur's play didn't work out. If you look at Fallen's point of view, you'll see that after FNX dies, he comes down the ladder and basically traps the CT and connector. Since both him and Vinny have both choke points cut off, what would have happened if Fur died at A is that they would have worked on pinching this CT and connector and bring it back to an even man situation. You'll even see that Bolts was ready to come down the connector to help facilitate this. Imperial was already thinking a step ahead in case things didn't work out. When it came to Imperial's executes, some of them were super on point. Here's an example on Mirage against G2 where they're going to go for a simple B play. Now G2 have 3 players stacked at the B site to defend this push, but you see that the fine details in Imperial's utility dismantle this hold. Just how exactly does it happen? It first starts with Fallen's market window smoke. This is a fairly common smoke nowadays, but what's important is actually when the smoke bounces. You'll see that from FNX's point of view that he starts the push the moment the smoke bounces. One of the reasons why teams do this is because if a player is at market holding the window cross, seeing the smoke bounce may prompt them to push past it, which ultimately creates a window of timing for players to cross upper. That's what FNX does here, and as he comes out he throws a flash that bounces into the site. This flash is designed to blind CTs playing towards short, and Hunter gets blinded by it completely. Now the next question is, how does Alexi B get blinded here? This comes from Fallen's flash that comes about a couple seconds after the market smoke bounces, and it's meant to pop just as FNX lands. That is how Alexi V gets completely blinded. What about Nico towards bench? He gets blinded by Fur's flash that comes about a second after the market smoke bounces, and this flash is essentially an initiation flash, where it's designed to pop just as FNX is coming out of the window. Nico just happens to get hit by this flash from bench and then Molotov'd out, basically giving him no chance of getting more than a single kill. It's clear that Imperial spent time on the details with how well timed the flashes are, and don't worry, Fallen does get some credit thanks to Leadify's rating breakdown. One of the last things that stands out about Imperial is how well they take sites with very low time. How do they do it exactly? Let's take a look at this round. Imperial first start off by baiting out utility from the CTs at B. Fallen throws a Molotov for wood, which then baits out a monster smoke from Hobbit. Bolts then throws a heaven smoke, which then baits out a flash and Molotov from Nafni. And then finally the last Molotov from Hobbit comes out at the 22-second mark, meaning it'll expire with 15 seconds remaining in the round. But more importantly, by baiting out basically all the utility at B, Imperial have created a situation where the CTs at B won't have many options to counter the final 15 seconds of the round. And it's in those final 15 seconds when Imperial actually take the site. Not only that, they also save utility for this final push so that they can break any setup that the CTs potentially have. And that is what this final flash is for. This flash from Fur blinds Inters, allowing FNX to trade, and it also blinds Hobbit, forcing him to take cover down the slope. It ultimately creates space for FNX to hunt Hobbit down in water and allow Vinny to finish the plant with 6 seconds remaining. And that's really the goal with these late round hits, is to give themselves the last possible advantage while clearing the site. You'll see the same idea in this round where they go A with about 16 seconds left. Even after Vinny gets his kill on Nafni at the site, they still wait for the final utility until they push in to give themselves the best chance of clearing the site. Only after the final Molotov and flash from Fur do they push in. They're not scared of using every last second in the round to ensure they have every advantage available when taking the site. And that is how Imperial, or The Last Dance, did so well at the Major. That's gonna be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please drop a like and feel free to watch this video on your screen now.